Hey everybody, Chris here. Dogecoin is for everyone. What do I mean by that? And what does that have to do with the price of Dogecoin right now? I'm going to talk about that in this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Hit that little notification bell too. You can be notified when my new videos come out, as well as when I do live streams. We do a lot of comparisons between Dogecoin and Bitcoin. There's a reason for that, partially because Bitcoin is the largest cryptocurrency, almost 60% of the entire total market cap of all cryptos. But Dogecoin has the meme culture behind it and a huge following, keeping Dogecoin in the top 10 of all cryptos, even in this bear market. What does that look like on the charts? And what do I mean about Dogecoin and its utility and use case that it's growing? We're going to get into it right now. So let me show you the charts and the news. I'll show you what I'm looking at. And we start here with Dogecoin chart at about 9.3 cents. Dogecoin is lagging. That's right, rather lagging, going sideways here for a day now, right in this range. We have Bitcoin just dropping below 70,000 now in the 69s. Bitcoin did not hold support there at 70.5 and is now back in its yellow box. So we are seeing weakness right now in the Bitcoin price. Doge trying to hold on. Doge, of course, is already below its yellow box because of the big run that Dogecoin went on here on Wednesday with the big then Wednesday night into Thursday pullback. So now trading sideways with a little negative action on Bitcoin. But what does that mean overall? And what are we looking at? We're starting with Bitcoin, and Bitcoin right now, Altcoin Sherpa says, honestly, don't really want to see this trade back within that range for very long. If it spikes down and quickly reverses, then I'm confident we test the 80Ks. But the longer this trades lower here, the less interested I am. Everyone's just waiting and watching macro right now as we see Bitcoin settling back in, and we will see whether Bitcoin does test some moving averages, which we will look at in a minute. Al just says, look, a 38.2% Fibonacci is the wall for Bitcoin. Very high chances for rejection, and that's right here at 74. And we saw that. We are getting that rejection back, and we are in the 69s right now. So this seems to be a pattern that we have in a bear market. We get a little momentum, we get a little movement, and then rejection and retrace. Ted Pillow says Bitcoin tapped the 74.75 resistance zone and got rejected. The next crucial support zone is 69 to 70, which is where Bitcoin is right now, which should hold, Ted says. Otherwise, Bitcoin will drop towards the 65K line, and that is what we will be watching, whether Bitcoin comes back down from this move up, and that would be kind of a mini relief rally. Again, not the big relief rally I was expecting, which was going to be this white move up here toward 80K. And the market just doesn't support that kind of move for Bitcoin right now. The Crypto Princess points out that the 200-week simple moving average remains one of Bitcoin's most important long-term bear market levels. In each Bitcoin bear market, the price reached or fell below, again, the 200-week moving average, back in 2014, 2015, 2018, and 2022. And currently that 200-week moving average there in blue is sitting at 58,692. So we go to the Bitcoin chart. We see that blue line. We're only on the 30-minute though. We move to the weekly, and there we see that blue line. So I've been tracking that as well, the 200-week moving average here at 58.7, right in that range. And we will see whether Bitcoin taps it. When Bitcoin came down in early February to 60,000, it did not tap that 200-week moving average. So those that believe in moving averages and how they always have to hit certain numbers, there's your chart right there. We also have Titan Crypto saying that Bitcoin is mirroring the previous cycle so far. Unless Bitcoin reclaims the fair value gap, the same outcome could follow. Again, that is up here in the mid-70s. Up to 80K is the FVG, fair value gap. And if it doesn't reclaim it, It could drop further. This fractal here comes back to 2022 when the same thing happened. We had this movement, this head and shoulders movement, and then a retrace. Again, we had this same thing from late 2024 through 2025, the head and shoulders, and then the pullback. So we could see this move down. Where is that bottom? What is that level? Certainly if it goes below that 200-week moving average, we could see some kind of bottom in the 50s. So right now, Titan of Crypto is looking at 50,500 for a potential bottom based on that fractal. Bitcoin is still in a bear market, according to Coin Bureau. Despite the recent surge, Bitcoin could still be in a broader bear market. The bull score index remains at just 10 out of 100, suggesting the latest move may be a relief rally rather than the start of a new bull phase, which is what I've been calling for. Of course, if you've been following me for the last number of months, we have been watching this together, and the crypto market is very weak despite this recent little pump that we had across crypto, which is always good to see and very healthy. Again, takes out some of the shorts, takes out some of that leverage trading, and then drops lower, taking out more longs. And we continue to see that pattern again and again as the market makers and the exchanges continue to still control the market. Speaking of market makers, Jane Street. Is Jane Street planning to manipulate Bitcoin again? This morning, there have been a lot of reports that wallets linked to Jane Street have deposited $19 million in Bitcoin to institutional-focused exchanges. These are the platforms used for high-frequency trading, which has been responsible for the 10 a.m. slam in the past. Is Jane Street going to be back to its shenanigans again? And are we going to see a further dip in the Bitcoin price? That, again, is what moves the markets more than anything else. The altcoins follow. The whole market moves in tandem, particularly with Bitcoin having, again, just about 60% of the total market cap. Jimmy's taken a look at the RSI for Dogecoin, and the Doge RSI is low. It is at about 34 right now, and we did see a double bottom in it. The lowest point was at 29, and that was back in 2022. And this is on the weekly chart. We're looking at the RSI on the weekly. Back in 2022, when the RSI fell down below 30, that is when the price of Doge in June of 2022 came down to 4.95 cents. That was the bottom of the last bear market. We are now at 34 on the RSI. And Dogecoin is floating around at 9 cents. We did early February have that dip down to 8. Could we see, again, a dip down in the 8s again, and maybe even dip below 8 if the RSI fails to hold this 34 line and drops down lower? Again, this is big picture macro, looking out at how Dogecoin trades. Jimmy says, I don't think we will go that low because the bull was weaker than in 2021. The war didn't really affect prices, which is a sign we might be near the bottom. Such oversold periods only happen every 4 years. The 4-year cycle, again, is still in play. So what does this mean for Doge and the Doge news? Dogecoin retest critical support level amid the foundation's asset-backed vision. What is going on with that? Dogecoin experienced an 8% decline on March 6th, settling near 9.4, and now we see it a little bit lower as I'm recording this on Friday morning. So we had this nice big run on Wednesday, and then Dogecoin followed Bitcoin back down with a big retrace. 24-hour trading activity decreased by 31%. We were enjoying over $2.5 billion of trading on Wednesday, and now we're about $1.5 billion. So the volume ticks back down and complacency sets back in. The 9-cent threshold has served as crucial support territory for multiple months. Plans to transform Doge into an asset-backed currency were announced by the Dogecoin Foundation through Fractal Engine technology. What does that mean? So we will go through all of the technical analysis and price analysis. We just went through all of that. We did look yesterday at this historical bottom channel that Trader Allen showed, but of course he's pumping out a lot of Dogecoin charts. We covered all of those yesterday. But now, this is the news. The Dogecoin Foundation revealing a significant strategic pivot. This is Tim Stebbing, serving as the foundation's director, presented plans to convert Doge into an asset-backed digital currency utilizing a sidechain infrastructure, which they are calling the fractal engine. Now, I'm not sure how that actually works as a side chain and how that then rolls back up onto the Dogecoin blockchain. Of course, we have Doge OS doing its own thing, separate from what the foundation is doing. So we have sort of these competing efforts with Dogecoin. Why do they choose Dogecoin? Well, that is because of Dogecoin's inflation, which makes it different than Bitcoin, more apt to be used as a digital currency than Bitcoin. Who wants to spend their Bitcoin? Bitcoin is a store of value now, not something that is being spent. Also, the fees. Bitcoin has huge fees and takes 10 minutes for it to settle on the blockchain. Now, Dogecoin is 1 minute max to settle, but the sidechain projects, the so-called L2s or whatever, however it works, is pretty much like a Visa card. It's like instantaneous because it's not relying on the blockchain, and then it rolls onto the blockchain every once in a while. I'm not sure how long that is going to be. The framework concentrates on the tokenization of real-world assets, or RWA, and of course this is the big thing that a lot of those supporters, like the House of Doge, are talking about as Dogecoin's future. Tokenization of real-world assets, as well as use as a currency for transactions. So property holdings, business enterprises, mineral resources, physical commodities, this is going to be the big thing coming up in the digital asset world, is tokenization. You're going to hear that word a lot. Dogecoin wants to be ahead of that. Now, there's a lot of others talking about tokenization using other chains, but Dogecoin could be a leader in this if it is adopted. Every transaction conducted on the sidechain would be valued and executed in Doge. So we're not using some kind of other token or anything. It would be actually Dogecoin running this sidechain. The sidechain architecture is engineered to function autonomously initially. So I'm not quite sure what the future plan of that is yet, but future integration with Dogecoin's primary layer remains possible through protocol enhancements. They just want to get the thing running first. So that makes sense. Stebbing's proposal marks a significant shift from Dogecoin's original identity as a community-driven meme cryptocurrency. The program aims to establish practical utility for Doge beyond its cultural appeal. So we will be watching all of that. And our friend, the Dutch Doge guy, sums it up pretty well, because Michael Saylor says there isn't enough Bitcoin for everyone, right? Scarcity, hard cap, store of value. Nobody's going to be using Bitcoin for any of this stuff. Are you going to use your Bitcoin to tokenize some real-world asset? That means you're essentially locking it up in another manner and kind of spending it. And people don't want to spend their Bitcoin. Right? They don't want to spend their Bitcoin. But Dogecoin is meant to be spent. And that's why the Dutch Doge guy says there is enough Dogecoin for everyone, as opposed to there isn't enough Bitcoin. That's the difference between Bitcoin and Doge. Dogecoin, there's enough for everyone. Some will say, well, the inflation is too great and you have to have so much extra buying in order to overcome the inflation of Doge. I get it, but if Dogecoin is being used more and more every day, then inflation is actually a good thing. What does that mean for the price? We have seen Dogecoin go on huge runs before. That's how you trade Dogecoin. You wait for those big runs again. You be patient. It will come again. Again, not financial advice. I can only tell you what I'm doing. Accumulating Dogecoin on the big dips, and the big run will come again. That is the trading of Doge. That will continue despite these new projects coming about tokenization and use as a currency. The fluctuation in price will continue. But hey, we got big fluctuation in price going on in gold and silver and other things right now too. So why not Doge? So that's where we are right now. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about Dogecoin and this idea about its non-scarcity and how that works for everyone. Give the video a like, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.